Welcome everybody to Newcastle, Welcome everyone to Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. And today we are with Westrac Caterpillar, Australia's biggest cat dealer. And we are going to explore their remarkable Newcastle campus, see the shop, see the new equipment, the rebuild area, the technology. We're gonna see it all. Let's go check it out. First up, parts warehouse. Every machine needs parts over its lifetime, and time is always of the essence. The faster the part can travel from the shelf to the customer, the better. Which brings me to Westrac's Robot Army. Robots. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, beep, boop.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But like when we first installed this, people thought that we were going to do away with the jobs and replace people with robots, but that's actually not the case. We still have the same amount of people. This is like a big box that needs to be fed with parts, and parts come out of it, so we still need the people to feed it, and we still need the people to package it up and send it out to customers. It just makes it more efficient in that middle process.
So essentially this is a goods-to-person picking solution. It's fully automated to allow us to pick all of our small, fast-moving parts. After COVID, or running out of space, we knew we needed to grow, and we looked at solutions, and this was our most preferred. So essentially it is a dense storage solution. It's got about 40,000 parts.
And we ran an internal competition to name all the robots, and all the employees had to put their names in, and these are the ones that were picked. They're all pretty funny. A lot of people come up here and choose their favorite one, and there's one kind of girl one. It's called Picarella in pink, and that's usually the one that everybody likes.
Behind me is not the latest episode of BattleBots. What these little things are parts pickers. So underneath this, we're maybe 2 stories above the bottom level. There's 40,000 parts. Each one of these little squares, rectangles here has 21 bins stacked on top of one another. Each bin has different parts. So what these robots are doing is, as orders come in, they fill about 8,000 parts a day. They were rearranging these bins to then drop the bins with the parts needed down to people below. The people can then put those parts into the boxes, and then the boxes go out on trucks to the customers within a day. The robots are automatically arranging this setup in the most efficient manner possible. So the parts that are the most common eventually rise to the top so that the robots can get those as fast as possible. But this entire thing is going 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 40,000 parts. These robots are optimizing this whole thing based on what customers actually need. What's happening right now is a order has come through for about 15 parts. So the little robots are up there figuring out where exactly those parts are. They're bringing the boxes to these empty lanes where he is receiving them, and then based on what parts he needs from each box, he's able to grab them, put them into smaller packages, basically open up the bigger packages, get exactly the quantity the customer needs. Once all the parts are in that blue box, it then goes on this conveyor to get shipped out. The parts are ordered, picked, packaged by this team here, put onto pallets, and then that truck out there is getting loaded as we speak. The trucks go out twice a day. So if any of the Westrac branches on the east coast of Australia order parts, by 3 p.m. it gets onto that truck, and it'll be at that branch by 8 a.m. the next day. Beyond the robots, the warehouse itself is about 8,000 square meters. So they have rows of parts that people can pick that are a little bigger than the robot can handle and bring to wherever they need to go. Here are the bigger, heavier parts that are typically picked by forklifts. So they have tens of thousands of parts all through this warehouse that they're sending out for PMs, for emergency use to all their branches on the East Coast and then to the shop here on site. That is a huge hose. Next up, component rebuild Sentry. I know, yeah, that's a joke. You guys speak different. I put something in meters the other day and someone just messaged, they're like, how many bald eagles is that?
So guys, this is a legitimate drill. So we're gonna have to evacuate.
We have to evacuate.
And then I thought, this would make some great content.
What's going on here? Are we doing a fire drill?
Oh yeah. Watch out for the ripper. Watch out for the 18 blade behind you. Yeah, quick fire drill. We'll be back after this. Before we get back to the main program, I just wanted to test the key feature on this 18 blade behind me. Nice.
Very busy.
Back to the main program. We're here checking out rebuilds. This is the... No.
Can't be real. Can't be real. Give it a second.
We'll be right back. And now for another edition of You versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. After 2 fire drills, we returned to the CRC to see them clean the engines, reassemble everything, and test each on the dyno. And oh yeah, check out this tool wall. And we're back. We're gonna go through the rebuild center and I'm gonna talk really fast before the 3rd fire alarm so that we can get through this. Behind me are the engines. They've been out in the field for thousands, some of them tens of thousands of hours. They've been used up and now they're awaiting their next life in the rebuild Sentry. All of these engines are obviously used and dirty and they are gonna go now into that next process, which is the breakdown and cleaning process. Here's the goal. This is a block that's almost been broken down. You remove all of the components off of this block to get it down to that bare steel, and then you put it into giant washing machines to get all that grime and grease off before the rebuilding process. This is the warehouse outside of the actual workshop. All of this stuff has been worked on, cleaned, and a lot of it has already been rebuilt, is awaiting assembly within there. It is covered in plastic to prevent contamination. They don't want any dust or anything getting into this clean part before it can be properly assembled. That's a huge shaft. Everything's been cleaned, remanufactured. We've grabbed new parts like hoses, filters, wiring harnesses, and this is the stage in which the engine is built back from the ground up. This is almost all the way together. It's been sandblasted, and once this is all nice and pretty, they will do testing on the dyno, they will paint it, and then it will be off to the customer. Now, the last time we went through an amazing rebuild facility like this was in Chile with Westrac Caterpillar. A lot of people said, I don't know what I'm talking about, and they're right, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I am here, they're not. Hey, good day. We wanted to see an engine on the dyno. This is one of 2 dynos they have here at the shop. That's a 793D engine that's been rebuilt all the way through the process. It's technically a brand new engine, but before they send it out to the customer, they want to test it here. So they're just getting it ready for a few hours of testing. They ramp it up and down and then fully load it to make sure that engine is perfect before it's put on a truck. Here's the finished product, a rebuilt engine awaiting pickup to the mine site. Speaking of Cat 793D haul trucks, that's a Cat 793D haul truck in for a rebuild. This shop, it is almost the exact same premise as the engine shop, the component shop right next to us, but it is the full picture. These machines are brought in after 10,000, 20,000 hours. They're stripped all the way down, put up on these stands. Everything comes off. The frame is inspected, is fixed if there's any defects within that frame, but can be fixed. It goes off to paint. All the components get rebuilt, the engine, the transmission, the drivetrain, and then once it's cleaned up, they bring it back into the shop to build it from the ground up with those rebuilt components, the new hoses, the new wiring harnesses, the updated cab, and by the end of it, it'll be an almost new truck, but for about 40% less cost. How long does a project like this take? About 35 days on average. They don't just do trucks, they do dozers. This is the first next-gen D11 rebuild that they've done in this shop. You can see it's just the frame right now, but within a few weeks, it'll be basically a brand new dozer. It has 20,000 hours on it already. Breaking it down, rebuilding it. What do you want for lunch? You want metal cutting liquid, non-contact cleaner, silicone multi-surface. What are you feeling? This?
Yeah, 808.
Okay. We've seen the rebuilds and now we're onto the new stuff, the latest and greatest. This is the outdoor build pad and then we'll go into the shop. Big machines like a 789 haul truck can't be shipped whole from the factory. So they are shipped in pieces like this. This is part of the drivetrain. The parts, they go from the factory in Illinois onto a truck to a ship across the ocean onto another truck, and they arrive here at a dealer like Westrac for building. The building process takes cranes, many technicians, and weeks to build that entire truck up. And they're not just building these machines, but they're bringing them up to the specifications of every customer. Every customer is a little different, so they have these safety requirements that they need to meet. Then they have different features on each machine that they have to add before it then goes to site. Out here they have anything from scrapers to giant smoothers. 789 almost together, so it's been built up from the frame, the drivetrain components, putting on all the hoses, the process. This process here takes about 6 weeks. Now we're in the new build shop. This place is filled to the brim with new dozers. Let's count. We've got a D10, a D11, a D10, a D10, a D10, a D6, a D6, and another D11 with an excavator in the mix. Nice. That's a big hoe. This D11 here was built in Peoria, Illinois, put on a truck, sent to America's East Coast to Brunswick, Georgia. You can see that because it says Brunswick on the front of that. From there, it's rolled onto roll-on, roll-off ships, ro-ro carriers. It's amazing. We can put a picture here of those tractors going onto the ship. They take it all around the world, land it here on Australia's East Coast, and then this tractor is now ready for all of its ornaments, its blade, its push arms, its ripper, its cab. Everything from here goes onto this machine before they then take the blade back off, put it on a float, send it to the mine.
Now for the Westrac Technology Center. To get a much more in-depth look at the coolest thing here, the remote operator station that can run machines anywhere in the world, hit the card on the screen. But now, let's head upstairs to see, you guessed it, more robots.
Every machine has all kinds of liquids that make it work properly. This here is an oil sample to make sure the machine is not sick, much like you get your blood tested. Caterpillar tests the oil and all of the fluids. So these samples come from customers all over New South Wales. They arrive here, and then it comes to this right here, which is the oil testing robot area. They put 48 samples into here. This robot grabs it, starts the tests, and then it works its way through this process. Each process is a little bit different, testing this oil for different things like metal, for example. If you have metal in your oil, not a good thing. Once it's done, they can then take that data and talk to the customer. Hey, no issues, your machine's good to go. Or hey, we found metal shavings in your oil, probably a problem. Let's check it out. With this setup here, they can do 240,000 samples like this every single year. That concludes our visit with Westrac Caterpillar. Thank you to the folks of Westrac for having us out. We loved being here, and now it's time for us to head back south to Canberra. Thanks for watching. Stay dirty.